On this episode, we're going to go over everything I was able to achieve on my 11-day trip to Abuja, Makurdi, and Jos. I had already outlined everything that I needed to achieve on this trip. Remember? The things I have to do, first of all, in Abuja, one is to see my lawyer. And then I also have to see Shibi. Shibi is this girl. She's a lawyer. She wants to start a podcast. She's been wanting to start a podcast for a long time. We met on Instagram. She lives in Abuja, and I intend to see her in person and really discuss, feel her out, see what's on her mind. Because law is an important aspect of life, and I think if we have a podcast in the network that really focuses on law, especially with somebody who's passionate about it hosting it, I think it's very, very likely that people would find a lot of value in it. I had clear intentions for Abuja. See my lawyer, see the other lawyer, Shibi, the one that wants to start a podcast, feel out if she's a good fit for the network. But then the thing with the lawyer, she just couldn't get my time. She couldn't make time for me at all. And I only had 3 days to spend in Abuja before going down to Makurdi. And then on Thursday, I had arrived Abuja on Thursday. And so by Monday morning, I headed down to Makurdi. And then also after Abuja, I go to Makurdi, where my mom and siblings are. But also I go to Makurdi for MacFest in particular, because the event MacFest holds in Makurdi, and I need to do some groundwork. By November last year, we still were not sure if we were going to do the event. So this preparation for this year's event gives me a lot of hope and optimism. Before I even got home, the first meeting I had was about MacFest with a guy called Bigger. So Daniel introduced me to Bigger via WhatsApp and said he runs some kind of event, but it's a high energy community type event like what we're trying to do with MacFest, and he has some experience in it, and we could find a way to collaborate. I should just speak to the guy, just feel him out. So I had a meeting with that guy. Me, him, and my brother Felix sat together at Palm Garden. He does his own event on the 25th of December on Christmas Day, and ours is on the 30th. We just concluded on how we were going to help each other, and I believe that was a successful meeting. It was after that I went home. My siblings, whom I had not seen since my dad's funeral, crazy. So it was a lot of fun to be in the house again. I went through old pictures, old pictures of our albums when we were young. I've been craving those things, to be honest. I didn't have access to the house when I went back last December because they were not around. But seeing it now was dope. Basically, the trip to Makurdi is like the MacFest preparation. Something else that I'm supposed to do was to handle social media and those type of things. So I made arrangements to meet with this influencer guy, Apav, they call him, in Makurdi. But my schedule was too tight. I couldn't make time. But then I couldn't make time for Apav. But somebody that I did need to see is Chivi. If you don't know who Chivi is, she runs the social media for GoodLiving Network. So she lives in Makurdi. And I had to hold a meeting with her because transitioning to a network, not just one podcast again, I think it requires a different scope of work. And I had a conversation with her. God, I got to that. I wish I had recorded it, but I didn't. But we had a solid conversation about how she can use her skills and help us with MacFest, and also how we're going to transition our posts and things like that moving forward. So we turned our Instagram from Good Living Podcast to Good Living Network. That's what is showing on the Instagram now. Same with the TikTok. I don't know. I can't change the Facebook one. I don't know what's wrong with it. It doesn't change automatically, but you post from Instagram, you post directly to Facebook. But you change them on Instagram, it doesn't change on Facebook. I'm looking for it to change it on Facebook. I can't even find it. And so that was Makurdi basically. Oh yeah, and then regarding MacFest, we are looking at alternative advertising methods, not Wisha, me. We're just discussing advertising, but I'm always thinking of ways that could be subtle and yet very effective. And there's this eatery, Food Domain, one of the most popular restaurants in Makurdi. They have TVs inside, and I know advertising on digital screens are not a big deal. They're not a thing in Makurdi. It's not a thing. And we thought about billboards, but seeing that it's going to be election season, we may be outcompeted in the billboards and all of that. It may be harder to get those. So I thought about digital screen advertisements. When we put out our flyer for the event, it will show on the screens of indoor places like Food Domain and the likes. So me and Felix went to eat here one afternoon, and after I finished eating, I saw the manager. Well, I call him the manager, but he's the one like running the place and telling the people where to serve and making sure everything is moving smoothly. And when I said hello to him, I greeted him and everything, and I told him what the idea was that we had for an event in December. And and I'd like to explore the opportunity of advertising our event on their screens, especially the ones that are not using to play anything. If you can come to an agreement. He said, okay, yeah, it's not always in his hands, but he was struggling to understand what I was trying to explain to him. I'm not saying he was struggling, but he didn't get it one time. I had to further explain exactly what I was trying to do, before he got the idea. So it's not something that he was used to, and he admitted it to me as well. This is not something that he usually used to, so it will take some time. I said, cool, take your time. I took his number, and I have not called or texted since. I need to get back to that guy. And then after Makurdi, I go to Jos. There are two people I want to meet regarding the podcast network, one of which is Kush, the host of A Pig Behind the Rainbow. And his podcast is a bit touchy because of the LGBTQ relationship it has. I had to have conversations with Kush because, on a serious note, business-wise, he's hosting a podcast that, one, is controversial, but I think is kind of essential. People need to learn some of these things. And I spoke to him to try and feel out where he was on the kind of podcast he wanted to create, what kind of things he would leave out, what kind of things he's passionate about speaking. I don't understand where the line can be drawn, or if there's a line that can be drawn. So I want to ask you, is there something that you would consider off limits, or something that a topic that we should probably not even bring up? That could be very risky.
Right now, I don't know off the top of my head. There are certain things that, I don't consider useful advocacy or helpful advocacy for poor people. Certain things are just there. That's why.
But there was this part of our conversation that, after I listened to that, bulk of talk, I understood that, okay, yeah, this guy has some substance he can throw at us.
But there are certain things that I will talk about that are real. Even the predatory behavior in the queer community, I will talk about that. Yeah, I'm not going to shy away from that.
Yeah.
Men are predatory,
You're highlighting the problem. It's not really...
Exactly. Though I know that people would like to focus on that, but I can walk around the conversation because it happens everywhere. Right? It happens for straight people, everybody. Well, but sometimes even when I get advances from younger people, I always tell them, I'm 10 years older than you. Chill out. Look for somebody around your age. They find that offensive because they feel like, the women tell me I've been with somebody your age or older than you. Good luck. But not me. So, but that breeds a lot of predatory behavior. And that also leads men to forget that they can be victims in situations. So, a lot of young men, even the ones that are 18, 17, assume that they're doing this consciously. But when there's a power imbalance, which is something that happened to me, especially when I think I was telling you that whole story about the stuff that happened in the office with my boss, which is pretty much posted. Yeah. It was because of the power imbalance. That was the reason why I did not behave the way I would have behaved. Yeah.
That created a conducive environment for that kind of abuse.
Exactly. And secondly, the reason why when it was happening, I did not react violently to it. I just tried to protect myself, but I did not attack. I wasn't in the defense. Yeah. If it was any random person, we could go fight. You understand? We could break bottles. But the power imbalance, and that power imbalance breeds room for these predatory relationships to be very successful. Because even the younger person, when they feel disrespected, when they feel controlled, they can't say anything. They just feel like, oh, this person is way older than me, I don't want to disrespect him. Or they have more money, they're footing my bills and all of that extra stuff. But anyway, let's drive the conversation to where you want to drive it to.
This guy has some substance that we can work with for the foreseeable future. And that was impressive to me. One other thing that brought us here, which I wish I had a meeting with a lawyer before coming here so that I can have a clear understanding of what we're trying to do. It's difficult to share money that has not come yet. But in business, it is very essential that you create agreements on ground before money comes. Create concrete agreements. And Kush, being a smart person, also knows how important it was. So we had to discuss money before any money starts coming in. But I think it was a pretty straightforward discussion. One thing I think we should discuss, it's difficult to share imaginary funds. So, but I would still like to give you a basic idea of what our contract would look like. I know there's an industry standard for things like this, But my own desire is that we try to do as much 50-50 as we can do. 50-50 streams, IP, books, whatever we make off your podcast would be 50-50, And I think that is more like a partnership, and that's what I'm interested in, having a partnership. I already have podcasts that are my brainchild, where I'm sourcing the stories from elsewhere, and the other different types of ideas that I can say, okay, this belongs to the network wholly, but other people's expertise being told on their stories being told on the podcast, I think they deserve to be partners. The only thing that I think should be, because obviously I have a network and a company to run, so the only thing that I think would not be 50-50, in my opinion, would be sponsorships, for example. And that is mostly because of the efforts that the network would put in to go and get those sponsorships, and the cost also for publicity and things like that. I think that is what we get back for putting that effort and those costs.
It does make sense.
So if you hear that your podcast is sponsored now by somebody, yes, you get something out of it, but it's not going to be 50-50 down the middle this time. It will be something much different.
I mean, we have this on record, so.
So overall, I'll say it was a successful meeting, and that was something that I was able to check off my list. Having just met Kush, I had to see Exhibit, podcast listener, my guy. And then after Exhibit, I played football with Kalistuz at Cruise Yard. Yeah, Cruise Yard, the pitch at Cruise Yard. I played football with Kalistuz, and that was the only time I was able to see him. And Kalistuz is friends with Lucas, which is another podcast listener I wanted to see. I remember when I met him, I shook him. I was like, Alpha, I was looking forward to seeing you, and he didn't believe me at first, And I was really looking forward to seeing him, but it was unfortunate I just didn't have the time. I was just doing so many things, and to be honest, I hadn't planned like a meeting but I really didn't know there was Idoga and so many other people. But I was able to see Dosie, and this is because the woman, bro, my friend Dosie, that I knew from Makurdi. She lives in Jos now. She sells bags, and so I paid her a visit. And before you know, it was Friday night, and I was leaving on Saturday. And Black, the girl from TikTok that I was supposed to see, we could only fix a meeting for Saturday morning, so I could leave Saturday afternoon to Abuja from Jos. And so we met.
RET.
Okay, red. I thought I heard you red.
No, red.
Okay. Let me level with you on something first of all.
Okay.
My podcast, when I record, sometimes when I do like some storytelling episodes, I like to get audio clips from the actual moments of the story. So if you don't mind, some of our conversation or all of it to be recorded.
Okay.
Yeah. I've already started.
Okay, I will sue you. You shall be sued. Why am I recording without my consent?
Forgive me.
I'll think about it.
With Black, the conversation is a bit strange because what I liked, like I said, was her ability to study and deliver what she has learned. And I think that is the ethos of GoodLiving, in terms of going to find truth and fact and then coming to deliver it to people in a way that they can understand and feel something. And that was what she used to do in her TikTok videos. In speaking with her, I think I was able to understand which topics were closer to her. I don't know, maybe I preempted it by bringing it up first, as she said it was one of her interests in the first call we had when I was still in Lagos. But when I brought it up, she was very passionate about it as well, and she went on to speak.
You cannot convince me for the life of me that somebody is superior to me because they have a penis. There are still men walking on the face of this earth that believe that by virtue of being men alone, they are superior to women. Not because of any other thing, nothing moral, nothing intellectual, no other basis of superiority other than the fact that they are men. So as somebody who, I don't know how it is in other parts of Nigeria, I'm not as well traveled, but then if you go to the north, for example, when people are saying, it's okay now women are allowed to work, now women are allowed to vote, now women are allowed to drive, what are feminists still fighting for, now women do this, and there is equality in the workspace. There isn't, by the way. There's equality in the workspace now. What are feminists still fighting for? If you say that it's patriarchy that is your problem, the patriarchy has successfully been dismantled. What are feminists still fighting for? There are girls in Kano that do not have bodily autonomies. There are 12, 13-year-olds in northern Nigeria that do not get to decide what they do with their bodies because they were married off when they were 9 or 10. And they will tell you, if you go to primary healthcare clinics or whatever, and you try to preach safe birthing or safe sex procedures to them, they'll tell you their husbands would not let them take contraceptives. Their husbands would not let. These people they probably already have VVFs and stuff like. These are children that need to be protected. So while I like to have a balanced view of things, at the end of the day, there is no human being without their biases. Right? So you will excuse me or you'll forgive me if I get a little overtly passionate about the fact that there are girls who are going through these things, and then there are people who have the chest to come and say that, oh no, it's only new wave feminism and it's bad because these people hate men. And if they hate men, go. As somebody who does not even hate men, if they hate men, go. Have men not done things over the years that made them open to the hate? Like, do they not?
And though with that, I deemed that a successful meeting. I had met Black, I had met Black, I had met Kush. We had both had successful meetings. I had met a couple of my guys, and I even found time to put a workout in. And then I had experienced just for the first time as well. It was a pretty chill city. Everything is, very chill town. Further reduced my blood pressure, to be honest. Except the hotel me and Felice stayed in. I'm not saying the hotel at all on its own is bad, though. But they first put us in a room that had no windows. Can you imagine that? A room without windows. Even the bathroom had no windows. And the AC was inconsistent. Don't worry, Sha, all that one is that has passed. It's okay. Fuck, it's not okay. They just need to do better. I mean, the staff were amazing. This is the thing. When I'm talking about certain places, I don't want people to lose their jobs or anything. At Stefan's hotel, like, the staff are good, amazing. The guy that helped us there, even when the water heater wasn't working, he would get water in a bucket, hot water in a bucket. But I didn't expect that was what I was going to see. After that first day in that room, I said, Mbao, we cannot do this thing. We will seek now. So you mean if whatever we do in this room now, it's not going anywhere? No, cannot work. So we changed rooms into one that had 2 windows, thankfully. My final few days in Abuja would be to complete whatever it is that I do not get to complete while I'm here right now. The thing is, I go back into Abuja with workload. I got back into Abuja on a Saturday. I was to leave on Monday afternoon. And I had not seen my lawyer. I had not seen Shibi. I had a hair appointment. And so I came in on Saturday and went straight to do my hair thing overnight. And I came back on Sunday to the house. That was when I saw my cousins, and then we went for that Igbo event. There was this Igbo Fest. Yeah, they did that old parade ground in Abuja, in Wuse. But I still hasn't seen Jemima or Shibi. I was in talks with Jemima, and it was looking like maybe it will work, you get. So I left that one there. But with Chivi, I already agreed that I'd see her on the Monday, the following day before I traveled. Just the way I did with Black. where we'll just have a meeting, and then after that, I'll just be on my way. So we had set that meeting for 1 p.m. or 2 because my flight was 3:40. And then Shibi texted me around 12, asking if we could move the meeting to 3. Flight is 3 something. So I couldn't make it. I told her I couldn't make it. We'll have to do it virtually. Same way my guy Savi that I couldn't meet in Jos. We agreed that we'll do our meeting virtually. So that's how I couldn't see the 2 lawyers. With Jemima, she texted me on my way to the airport saying, look, she's sorry, but her schedule is too overwhelming now for her to take on whatever I was bringing. So she was going to recommend somebody for me who was going to text me and take over my case. Now, my problem is, I'd given her all that tea about my personal case. Now I had to tell all of that to a new lawyer that is a stranger, because Jemima is my elder sister's friend. So she's like family. I've known her for years. But this one now is a new person. I don't even know her skill level or expertise. Anyway, but with my needs, I think any lawyer would do, to be honest. But that has been the journey. Now, coming back, I was able to have that conversation with Shibi a few days ago. Shibi, is in 2023 you first texted me on Instagram? 2023?
Now, let me tell you something with me. I think number one is procrastination. And so, like, I've had few financial issues. My money has been stolen 3 times because I wanted to change my phone for the podcast. I wanted to get a camera, I wanted to get good lighting and all of that. But since I couldn't get those things, I couldn't start the podcast. I don't still have them now, but my friends are willing to help me out. So I will just start with them. I've procrastinated for too long. So I think I'm ready to start from somewhere.
And she was honest with me as to why she couldn't start. Because I was really curious about it. I used to always say cold feet, but she really didn't have the facilities. We're going to see if we get that lawyer podcast. Even if we start it, I don't think it's going to air this year, even if we do something like that. I'm recruiting an editor from Upwork. Yeah, somebody who I can just dump a full season of raw files for and give him some guidelines and just pay. That would take a lot of stress off me. So overall, in terms of plans for the network, man, everything is going the way I expect it to go. Everything is going the way I expect it to go, and there are a few changes here and there we're having to adapt, but so far it's going according to plan. It's taking a lot from me physically, I'm not gonna lie. But a time is coming. With seeing everything come to fruition, I think it's amazing. Next episode will be more updates on how the network is going, regarding the sponsorships, regarding the editor, and regarding Shibi and the new podcast we're going to add. Yeah, and also Nigerian weight loss stories. We're still collecting stories for that podcast. If you know somebody who has lost weight and wants to share their story of weight loss, we're taking them. Have a nice one. Bye. If you've gotten to this part of the episode, then we've got something for you. If you look in the description, you will find a link which gives you access to the Good Living podcast discussion group. There you'll find other people and myself as well. Also a link to our website for more information on the Good Living podcast. Remember to like, share, and rate this podcast on whatever app you're streaming on. Thank you.